Alrighty, so we're a minute or two past the hour, so we can go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to our CableFinder deep dive. I'm Rob Schuler, our marketing manager here for CableFinder. I'm joined by Senior Account Manager and Brand Ambassador Taylor Brown, as well as Jasmine Pizarro, our account specialist, and we will be running you through the deep dive today. Of course, if you have any questions throughout the deep dive, there is a Q&A section there at the bottom, so please feel free to add any questions that you might have. We might not get to them right away. We might take some breaks here and there to stop for any questions, but please don't feel uh, afraid to ask any questions along the way, and we'll get to those. But that being said, let's go ahead and pardon the pun, but dive on in. I'll hand it over to Taylor to get us kicked off.
Thank you, Rob. So thank you everyone for joining. I'm the Senior Account Manager and Brand Ambassador here at CableFinder. So I help support all the various TSDs that license the tool or the platform, and also just help drive partners to be more self-sufficient in conducting demos to fully understand the capabilities of what you can do in CableFinder. So a couple things we'll cover today. Just have a few slides, and then otherwise it'll be a very interactive demo walking through the platform. But we'll cover, who's in CableFinder and how far you can take each one of those suppliers. What are some of the benefits of it? Kind of just showing how you can place your orders and really how easy it is, either if for order placement, whether there's a contract or no contract, or whether it places the order or maybe sends it to your TSD to place the order, what we have on our roadmap and any recent releases that we've done, and then just kind of walking through that live demo. So I can zoom in here just a little bit. So these are the suppliers that we currently have in the platform. This may vary depending on your TSD, and that could just be because, maybe your TSD doesn't have a direct contract with one of these suppliers. So just note that if you're not seeing it in that particular version of CableFinder, you could try it with a different TSD and see if they have it available too, or work with your TSD to see if maybe they can get a direct contract. But if you're not seeing it in there, that's typically the reason why. Looking at our check marks here, any orange check mark is going to be API driven data. So just meaning we're calling that carrier directly to either return back the serviceability, pull pricing, or even generate an order or get order updates back from their API. The black check marks are going to be flat files or no APIs available. So they're either sending us a lit building list or like a rate card, and then our team is prioritizing that and getting it uploaded into the platform. And then just kind of showing life, before CableFinder. And these are just some of the carriers that we have in the system, in the platform, and just showing all of the different portals that they have, or Excel spreadsheets, rate cards, all of that kind of CableFinder has been able to consolidate. So looking at life with CableFinder, we've work with the providers very closely to make sure we have all their latest pricing and promotions in here. We've seen a decrease in order rejections. For some of those carriers, you can go all the way through order placement, meaning you are placing your order in real time. Let's take, Spectrum, for example. If you key in that order, there's no paperwork, you're hitting place order, it is building that directly into their buy flow. You're getting order notifications immediately from Spectrum. So there's really no delay in someone, having to pick up that order and place it. You get to kind of control that process. We're also integrated with DocuSign, so we do have some DocuSign enhancements we've recently rolled out that gives you a little bit more accessibility into managing some of those DocuSigns. We've got different CRM integrations with some of the TSDs, not yet all of them. We are working on some further automations with some of the other TSDs, but it is available in some instances. You can launch site surveys, generate contracts, and then again, just kind of that speed to order. And I like to say you can place your orders as fast as you can type. And then this is just showing one carrier example of what it was kind of before CableFinder, logging into several portals, determining, who the MSO is, if it's, Spectrum in this case, getting into their partner link, looking at a rate card, maybe sending your TSD an email for a quote. Now you're ready to order, waiting, orders placed. And then you have to reach out for order updates using several different platforms. And then with CableFinder, we've been able to consolidate all of that. You can log into CableFinder, you can pull serviceability, you can generate the quote, you place the order, you can select the installation time right then and there, and your order automates directly into BuyFlow. So then the TSD does receive a notification of that, so they're aware of your order, but then you as a CableFinder user, you're copied on all the communication. So the order installs, if there's a delay, any order updates, you're getting those in real time directly from the carrier. Same with any O2 notifications. If you sold Spectrum previously, you're familiar with what those notifications are. So you are engaged all along the way. I'm actually going to come back to our releases and roadmap. I'm going to just go into our demo here and then cover some of those releases and roadmap towards the end. So very often you can access CableFinder through a single sign-on through your TSD. So if you don't yet have access to CableFinder, be sure to reach out to your TSD. A lot of times you just access it through like their portal. For example, if you're using Teleris, it's through the Teleris Hub. Intelisys is through My Intelisys. Different scenarios by the TSD, but then you don't even need a set of credentials into CableFinder. It just takes you right in through their portal directly, which is great. And then it will take you here into this screen here. I am in just a generic CableFinder instance, but each TSD will have their own branded CableFinder site, just to ensure that any activity that you're doing in that site tags it back to that TSD so you can get paid your correct commissions per that TSD. So here I can just start by typing in either a business name or an address. We are integrated with Google Places here. So if I start to type in an address, it's starting to filter that out for me. I'm located in Castle Rock, Colorado, so I'm just going to select that one. You can see it fully formatted that address for me. And as I search here, this is calling the carrier's APIs to return back these serviceability results. You can see I have a couple different toggles up here. So first we're listing dedicated, best efforts, and then our wireless category. If I maybe am, I just know I'm looking for wireless, I can toggle certain ones off just to take me right to that section. But otherwise it will default with all available options. And then looking at our cards here, we've got dedicated, showing who the provider is, our serviceability description. We've got green, yellow, orange, and red. It will always show in that order. If you have multiple carriers that are coming back green, we're really just going to show whoever API comes back first will show first here, and then so on if they were to all be the same color. Then just showing, if it's serviceable or not, then you can hover over this to get some of those serviceability descriptions. The time is the anticipated time to install, distance if it's available, any max speeds that are available, and then the products that could change down here depending on the carrier to where you're seeing which products are available. Comcast gives us a minimum MRC estimate. They've calculated that based on, the distance or any build cost to get fiber into that building, tech data that's available, and so on. And then the same thing here for best efforts. Some of those card details are pretty similar, just kind of varies depending on the carrier. So I'm actually going to start by showing, let me think what I want to do here for paperwork. I'll do Comcast to start. It'll be a good example here. So actually, let me go up here really quick. If we are in or have full pricing, contracting, and ordering capabilities for that provider, you'll see configure pricing as long as it comes back green, yellow, or orange. You can see here Earthlink came back red, so you're seeing a request pricing. So you'll see a request pricing for any address that comes back red, or maybe the carrier comes back green, but they don't have pricing in there. They've only opted to show the qualification process. You'd also see that request pricing. By clicking this, it'll take you to a form. You can fill it out, provide any notes. Submitting your request goes right off to your TSD, and then they can find those pricing solutions for you. Otherwise, you can go in to configure your pricing. So I'm going to start with Comcast today. So I'll go into configure my pricing. I can select, it's going to default to new service. We do have some of the existing services pricing in here for Comcast, but typically for the other providers, it is just new services. Um, this commission plan, so I'm actually in a dev environment right now, so you actually won't see this for the time being. We are working on having full order placement capabilities for Comcast to where you would see some of these additional options. But for today, you really won't have that selection here. Um, it will default to your 36-month term. You can adjust that if needed. And then this speed filter here. So if you are looking for a specific speed, you can select that. It will show those packages that are available. If you don't select a filter, it's going to show all the packages that are available. Best practice, even if you're just selecting internet, you still want to select that package, because when you do that, it toggles on everything that is in that package and applies a discount, gives you that package description, so you can continue through. If I were to select one with phone, it toggles those on. It kind of locks those fields as well, so that's some of um, the guardrails we've built, so that you really can't mess up a package. If you've ever used a Comcast configurator, it's very easy to kind of mess up some of those packages. So that's kind of why CableFinder was created, was just to simplify that for the users. But you can see, like, if I try and don't select a package here, and maybe I just want to try and build my own, it's not going to apply those same discounts as it would if I came in here and selected that package for me. It doesn't know that this plus this equals this package. You do have to come in and actually make that selection. So just want to make that very clear. We do get some questions about that here and there. So really just kind of a training thing to make sure that you are getting the best pricing available. Otherwise, if you want to add on TV, advanced voice, anything like that, we have all those additional products in here to where you can add that on. Looking at our shopping cart here, we've got our NRC, which is our one-time non-reoccurring charges, our MRC, our monthly reoccurring charges. And then you go into generate your quote, or go right into generate your contract. It'll always ask you to label your quote. Just because we do have a quotes and contracts library that you can access all of your opportunities. So let me just select one here. This is our customer profile feature. So you can see I only do tests in here, but if you ever need to, once you create the initial customer record, if you need to recreate the paperwork or maybe place another order for that customer, once you make that initial record, you can select them there in that drop down, and then it will fill in most of the information here for you. Again, that is if you once created it. Otherwise, if it's a brand new customer, you'll have to enter in this general customer information as you're placing your order, generating your paperwork. So what's nice about CableFinder is, as we've onboarded all these different suppliers, we've tried to make it a very standardized and uniform process for you, so that you don't have to go in and try and learn each carrier and all of their different portals. Some of the information might vary depending on the carrier in here, but we've tried to create a very simplified gathering, customer gathering information for you, so that you can really use CableFinder to its full extent for any provider, and there won't be a huge learning curve to it. So I did select that this address doesn't have a suite or unit number. You can see if I forget to fill something out, we've got those guardrails in place just to make sure that, there's not going to be any post-sale delays if information wasn't filled out or something. We also have these radio buttons, so if the technical billing information is all the same, you can use those, and it will just carry down that customer information for us. And then here on my confirmation page, I've got two options in this case. I can generate a PDF contract if I want to use my own signature platform, or best practice, we are integrated with DocuSign directly. Comcast owns the DocuSign license for their products, but the TSD owns the DocuSign license for all the other carriers in the tool. So if you do ever run into any DocuSign issues. If it's Comcast, you can reach out to us directly. If it's a different carrier, you just go straight to your TSD and they can help troubleshoot some of those. And I can show you here in just a second some of the DocuSign capabilities we recently launched. So here's my Comcast paperwork, everything they're using internally. Any CableFinder generated paperwork will always have this watermark here on the bottom of it, along with this unique quote ID if you do need to reference that order. And then, if you are using DocuSign, what's nice is it will, pre-fill in all of those signature fields for you, so you can just send it right out of CableFinder, goes directly to the customer. It still sees you as the CableFinder user. So you're notified once the customer signs it. You're also notified so that you can come back in here and upload your contract. So anytime you're generating paperwork out of CableFinder, regardless if it's actually placing the order or if it's just sending it to your TSD to place the order, you always want to come back in and upload your signed contract. That is essentially your order submission. If it places the order, it'll send it directly to the carrier. If they don't have the full order placement capabilities, it sends it to your TSD, and then they just get that email and then they'll pivot and place it for you. But regardless, that user experience is the same for you to always come back in and upload your signed contract. So here on this page, it took me right here, but if you're needing to come back to this at a later time, you go here under your searches and quotes and then pricing quotes history. This will take you to all of your opportunities. Maybe you just generated a quote or maybe you generated the contract. You can filter here if you're looking for that unique quote ID, customer name, quote name, anything like that. You can search for that to filter out those results. Otherwise, your actions under here, you can re-download your quote, you can download your unsigned contract again, or in this case, I'm here to upload my signed contract. Maybe I didn't send it with DocuSign the first time and a customer came back and said, actually, can you just send me a DocuSign? You can come back in here and send that DocuSign. If you did send it the first time, I don't have an example here, but if you already did send a DocuSign, you'll see sent right here, and then maybe you typed it in wrong. You need to resend it with the correct email. Maybe they gave you the wrong contact. Once you send that initial DocuSign, you'll see some additional options here that will either say void, resend, or change signer. So maybe they just didn't get it. You want to resend it. So those are some of the enhancements we've recently made just to get users comfortable with using the DocuSign integration out of CableFinder. Our end goal with DocuSign is going to be, once the customer signs it, we'll automatically upload it back into CableFinder, and that's the order submission. So you ideally won't have to do anything. Again, that's on the roadmap for a later time, but just to get you in the best practice of using DocuSign today. So now I'm ready to upload my signed contract here. So you can click to browse or drag and drop. Once I upload my signed contract here, it is essentially sending this off to my TSD. Then currently they will have to go into Comcast and place this order. Again, we are in beta testing right now with Comcast, so we're hoping to have the full C3 order placement coming soon here. So then once you reload your page here, you'll see couple different options here. So order submitted or order submitted to TSD. And that's just kind of giving you that notification that you did place that order. You'll also receive an email from CableFinder with that uploaded contract. And then for some of those carriers where we do have the full order placement, it will like CC the provider as well so that they have that order too. All right, so that is the paperwork perspective of it. Do we have any questions before I move on to a different provider?
I don't see any questions in the Q&A section right now, but that is a good reminder, especially since looks like we have a few people who are logging on a little bit late. If you do have any questions as we are going through this, feel free to throw them in that Q&A section included in the webinar. And so feel free to throw them there. Might take us a second to get to those questions. We might need to stop in a minute, but we will get them all taken care of before the end of the session. So yeah, I will toss it back over to you, Taylor.
Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to a provider where you can still place your order or request a contract, but there's essentially no paperwork. So that's the case for like AT&T ABF. They no longer require the LOA, so you can place your order right out of CableFinder and it goes directly into their B2B system. Nobody has to pivot. There's nothing to upload. You select your installation date and it moves along. Same thing for Spectrum Coax. We are fully integrated into their Spectrum buy flow for order placement, and it's all month to month. There's no contracts. So I'm going to walk you through what that experience looks like today. So here on the sales ID here, you actually won't have to enter this. If you've sold Spectrum before, we should have your sales ID loaded under your profile. You can always double check with your TSD or reach out to CableFinder to ensure you do have a Spectrum sales ID loaded into the tool. Oftentimes, if you don't have one in here, when you get to the confirmation page, you'll see have TSD place my order. But if you do the sales ID, you should be able to go through place order, and then it will just go straight to Spectrum. So this option here of selecting this, I'm an admin. That's the only reason why I have this. You won't see this as a user. It'll just be tagged, hard-coded to your profile. Then if you have ever used Spectrum by Flow previously, this probably looks a little familiar, where you select your commissions type. So it does default to residual. We can actually lock that as well. So if maybe you're always selecting upfront, we can lock that for you so that you don't, it's one less thing to click, one, in case you forget to change it, because from my understanding, once you pick either option, it's very difficult to get that changed. So if you are going with residual, it defaults to that, no issue. But if you are, typically doing upfront or always doing upfront, we can change that so that it will just default to that, so you don't have to worry about it. And then this here is just pretty much asking if the customer is a bar or restaurant, just because they have that different pricing. So if you select yes, you'd have to provide that viewing occupancy. If no, it will take you through to continue with your pricing. All right, so this particular address, I typed in a New York City address, so I do have to qualify that down to the suite level. So you'll see this experience or similar experience for this MDU qualification for Spectrum, coax, and then AT&T and ACC ABS. So since I'm in New York City, I have a very long list of suites here you can see. So we've added in this filter so you can type in that specific suite number that you're looking for. You can come over here to manual and find, try and type it in here. Or we do always have a bypass option. Definitely recommend selecting the suite if it's in there. Bypass will require post-sale validation. So just kind of keep that in mind to select that suite if it's available. Or if you really can't get it, you just need to get the order through. That's where you can bypass it. There is a notes field, and I would definitely recommend providing any notes to Spectrum if you are bypassing that address, just so they have full visibility into that. So now that I've further qualified my address, I can build a bundle here. So if I'm looking for a specific internet speed, maybe TV, I can build that bundle, and that will essentially just filter out the packages that are available. Spectrum has a lot of packages available. So these are all the packages just based on that one speed I selected. So it is a little overwhelming. So the more filters you apply, the less options you'll have here, just to, if you don't want it to be as overwhelming, just to keep things simple. I'm just going to select internet for today for the demo, so I don't have to do any phone number portings, anything like that. But that is available if you need to. All right, so I selected my internet. It is automatically applying this $5 discount, and then giving me a $99 NRC. So if you do want to control some of this, you can. I do want to call out on your installation fees. If you are choosing free install, that typically does require director approval sign off. So just note that this is really primarily for the quote. Once you go in to fully place your order, you will have to again reselect that installation type. So don't want to cause any confusion there. If you're, going after a certain installation type on the quote, that is truly just for the quote. But when you go to place your order, you'll just want to ensure that, free install is available or something like that. If you don't want to apply that $5 discount, you can also opt out of that here as well. All right, so now I'm ready to go in and just place my order. Since they don't have paperwork, you won't see, generate contract or anything. We'll just hit place order here. Again, labeling my business name. Let me find a test I've already created just so it will fill in most of my customer information for me. All right, so Reggie, you can see this looks very similar to Comcast. They're, customer information, but there's some differences just because Spectrum does require some additional information here. And so you'll kind of see that across the board for all the suppliers. Because I did qualify it at that suite level, it automatically filled that in for me. So I won't have to confirm that there's not a suite or anything like that. My technical, I'm going to pretend it's all the same with my billing. Makes it easy for me. Any authorized contacts, it is going to pre-fill out some of those. If you do have, maybe you want to add yourself or an agent or a customer, you can make those um, additional selections as well. Okay, here on my confirmation page, this is where you can add any order notes. So if there's, specific installation instructions, or maybe you had to bypass the address, that's where you would want to add in these notes. All right, now I'm going to place my order here. This is where it's going to ask me for my installation options. So you can do mailed home, if you do a technician visit, that's where you can select your primary installation option and then a secondary. If one of those are available, it'll get selected right away. You'll get emailed with that installation date, or if it wasn't available, maybe there was some sort of fallout code that applied, you'll be notified in that email right away. So once I hit submit here, I will then have this order confirmation. I'll confirm my order. I'm not going to do it because this will actually place a live order. Don't want to have to cancel it. So, but just note, like, it is really that fast. Once I were to hit place order, confirm order here, you'll get an email from CableFinder confirming pretty much, hey, thank you placed your order via CableFinder. Here's all your ordering details. And you'll also get one from Spectrum directly. If your installation date was selected, or if there's any additional fallouts or anything like that, you'll get an email from Spectrum immediately. So it really is that fast, enabling you as the agent to place your own orders. We'll also CC your TSD, so they're notified all along the way. All right, so back here on my home page, this manual request here, that takes you to the same screen as if you were to request your pricing. And then your searches and quotes, that's how you're getting here to, if you want to upload your signed contract, or maybe, you just want to see more visibility in here. Here's the Spectrum test I just put through. This is where you would access that information. Also on here, we have our multi-site search. So if you need to qualify, multi-site, anything like that, you can upload up to 500 addresses per spreadsheet. It takes roughly 20 to 30 minutes to qualify those addresses. There are 3 different templates we can accept. The first column is a unique location name. The second column is the address all together. The second template, you still have to have that unique location name, and then it just separates it out. And then we also have a mixed template, and it does have to be in a CSV format. So you can see here CSV, you upload that file, and then you'll get your results back via email. We also have our dashboard here with all of these files as well. So you can see all of these have processed, but if for some reason, you haven't got your email yet and it's been a while, you come in here and see some of those statuses. Maybe it's still processing, or maybe it failed for whatever reason. You can see that visibility in here. You can re-download that request file if you need to, or maybe you lost the email, you can come back in here and re-download that response file if it's available. So that's our multi-site tool. Let me come back in here into our deck here and go over some of our releases. So DocuSign enhancements, just covered that. Some of the providers we've launched here in the last month or two, Starlink, that is through Pulsar. That is only available through a limited number of TSDs, mostly because of the direct contracts. I know Starlink can be ordered through different carriers, so we currently just have that available through Pulsar. So if your TSD is not direct with Pulsar, that might be why you're not seeing Starlink in the tool. And then we did also just launch Brightspeed and Lumen. That is available under most of the TSD's instances, the exception of a few. Again, just reach out to your TSD if you're not seeing those options in there. But for Brightspeed and Lumen, that is for full order placement capabilities. So once you generate that paperwork, once you have it signed, always come back in and upload that paperwork, and that is your order submission. It will CC the Brightspeed and Lumen team, and then your order is placed. And if there's any questions or anything, they'll just respond to that email chain if they need any additional information. And then on our roadmap, we are working on adding Cox CFI, their shared fiber. That is about to go into testing, so hoping to get that launched here soon. And then our rate card quote. So I can kind of demo this for you here. We are just finalizing a couple things. So this is nearly ready to go out. But just to give you a sneak peek into it, we did get some feedback from users that they would like to see a rate card in the tool. So if you do have any feedback, we definitely try and accommodate it if we can. So this is one of those user feedback that we received. So here's, our traditional pricing page. It will live here under rate card. As I mentioned, we're still refining some of this information. That's why you're seeing zeros here. But essentially, if you're looking for maybe 1, 2, 3 year for a certain speed, you can select that. Maybe you want to see all the options, all the add-ons, and generate your rate card. We'll label our quote here. And then it will create one PDF with this rate card for this specific address. So it's pretty cool. We're super excited to get this to roll out. So you can just send it right off to your customer. Another thing we're working on is our add to quote feature. So looking here in CableFinder, the quoting experience is, single speed, single turn, all of that. So anything that you're doing, you create one PDF. Our add to quote is going to be, maybe I want this package. I can hit generate quote. Now I want to show a quote with TV. We're going to have an add to quote feature here. So any change that you're making, you can hit add to quote. It'll create a different record. Then you can export it. It'll put it all on one PDF file for you. Might be multiple pages. One export, so you can send that off to your customer and they can say, oh, I want to go with quote number 3. Then you come back in here. You do have to start over at serviceability as always. You're not able to generate a contract off of an existing quote for anything, including our standard quote experience. You do always have to come back in here and start over at serviceability. So excited for that. We are also working on some UI changes in general. We're realizing, let me go back up here to our supplier guide. It's kind of different by supplier and how far you can take it. And it is getting a little confusing for partners to know, oh, I can place my order for Starlink, but not for AT&T. It's a contract request, and just kind of learning, how far you can take it with each provider. So one thing we're working on is kind of a PEATS tracker, if you will. So this page, our pricing quotes history page, is going to get a whole new look to where you'll have much more visibility into your orders. You'll be able to even request order updates, either going directly to the carrier or your TSD, just less emails going back and forth. You'll see, oh, you've already uploaded your contract, you're done, nothing left to do, or, next steps, you still need to upload your contract. So just creating more visibility for you as the agent to manage your CableFinder experience is what we're working on. And then last on the list is AT&T ADI ordering. So today that is just a contract request. So by requesting that, it just sends it off to your TSD and then they'll get that contract generated for you. So once we have that full ordering capability, you'll be able to then place your AT&T ADI orders. And then last year, resources, we do have user guides available on our website. So just cablefinder.net is our website. You'll see here we've got, that supplier guide. If you do want access to that checkmark grid, we've got that in here. If you're looking for a specific provider, you want to learn how to, do optimum in the tool, we've got that broken out by provider for you as well. And then if you're not following us on LinkedIn, that's where we post any updates. So any new supplier updates, feature releases that are relevant to the user. And we'll always put that on our LinkedIn page. We'll announce contests on there, anything like that. So be sure to follow us on there. We also have a monthly newsletter we send out, but you should be subscribed as a CableFinder user automatically. So be on the lookout for those as well once a month. Again, just kind of going over what's the latest and greatest in CableFinder. And then Jasmine and myself are always available for training. So if we didn't cover a provider today that you want to learn more about, or if you have a team that you want a private demo for, happy to give that. Or if you're seeing any pricing discrepancies or errors in the tool or anything like that, we do have a dedicated support team. So support@cablefinder.net. Send an email there, it'll create a ticket, and then we can further investigate and kind of see what's going on and help get a resolution. So, and that is it. Do we get any questions, Rob?
Doesn't look like we have any questions as of right now, but of course, as Taylor just mentioned, we're here to help you guys. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to support@cablefinder.net or Taylor or Jasmine directly, and we'll definitely get this taken care of for you guys. With that being said, um, can give everybody back a few minutes in their day. We thank everybody for being able to hop on. I know it's a busy time of the year, kids going back to school or trying to wrap up your last kind of summer vacations right now. And so we thank you so much for being able to join us today. And of course, as I mentioned, if you have any questions or need anything, please feel free to reach out to us. But if not, we'll give you guys a few minutes back. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good week.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.